But right now I'm joined by Alfred Wong, CEO of Micron Waste Technologies, trading on the CSE under the symbol MWM. Alfred, welcome back.
It's nice to be back.
You bet. Alfred, last time we spoke, the Micron Waste machine that digests cannabis waste after the growing process got a new name. It was now known as the Cannavore.
Yes.
And so I'm wondering, how many Cannavores are out there dutifully gobbling up residue from growing operations in the cannabis space?
Well, right now we have our final validation process for the Cannavore at Aurora Mountain, and right now it's planning to exceed our expectations. So we want to really roll that out to Aurora facilities and as well as other industry verticals. And I think what's really exciting about today is that we actually had announced that we received our biotech patent from the US. And that really is a critical moment for us because it really symbolizes and validates the process for us to treat high margin specialized waste. And it really is a perfect storm right now. We have tightening regulations on the discharge of pollutants. We have governments mandating the diversion of organic waste from landfills. And we also have corporate social responsibility. So companies like Aurora who are really driving the need for clean waste solutions.
Okay, so now the output from the Cannavore is essentially water and some solids. Is the solids, I mean, have you been able to identify a value-add product that the solids could be converted into at this point?
We've actually done quite extensive research looking at the nutrient contents of the waste that's generated from our system, and whether that's you're looking at nitrogen levels, potassium levels, phosphate levels. So there's actually quite a wide variety of different use cases for it. And right now, our plan for 2019 is really to identify the partners who are able to help us execute on those parts, because our focus is really on the technology to be able to denature the active pharmaceutical ingredients, as well as to make the water clean enough to discharge into municipal sewers.
Okay, so just to refresh the memory of our investor audience out there, how do the economics work for Micron Waste? What does the machine cost a user? How much does it cost to run? How does Micron Waste make money?
Right now, there's our first element is looking at the sale of our units or the rental costs, and when we kind of look at the potential revenue opportunities and looking at the current alternatives, which is purely just on the landfilling of cannabis waste, we're looking at a 20–30% profit margin for Micron. But I think what's really exciting about today, especially with our biotech patent, is that it actually opens up new revenue opportunities. And so 2019 is really a focus for us as a company to look at new industry verticals where we can take our bioprocess and license it out to other verticals, whether it's your municipal sized wastewater treatment plants or other industries such as your brewing companies, shipbuilding companies, other agriculture firms, and all of these industries have reached out to us in the past several months to ask us whether or not we could address their problems. And so this biotech patent that we announced today really symbolizes that yes, we can.
Okay, and what exactly is the nature of the biotech patent?
So just to recap, right? We actually have two patents received in the last 6 months, and this patent today is really the biggest one. So our first patent, which we received from Canada, is a Canadian Industrial Design patent for our digester. Okay. Our US patent covers our bioprocess, so the method of us treating the wastewater, as well as our bacteria components and enzymes to be able to treat the wastewater to a degree that is be able to discharge. And specifically for the cannabis industry, which is quite interesting for us, is being able to convert the water into clean drinkable water standards. Because when we recover the water to be reused back into agricultural operations, the water needs to be very, very high quality. So at this point, we're comfortable to say that based on independent lab results that we have, that we're now able to treat the water to clean drinkable standards.
And is the alternative that most LPs are currently using just to compost it in a landfill? Is that the only other option?
Right now, the option that most LPs are doing is really landfilling, mixing with kitty litter, adding water, in some cases adding bleach before sending it to landfills. And it's not really the most optimum way, because it's not just about the cost. It's also about the issue of potential propagation of the pharmaceutical ingredients, because while the stalks and leaves might not have that high amount of THC or CBD components, our system has really been optimized on the cases where there's a crop failure. So when there's buds that needs to be destroyed in a manner that meets ACMPR regulations and Health Canada regulations, it can pass through our system. We denature all the active pharmaceutical ingredients before discharging. So that protects our environments. Right. And there's lots of research that shows that there are environmental impacts on the aquatic environment and the potential propagation of cannabinoids.
Really interesting. Okay, so then how soon is it, do you think, until there's broad uptake of this as the ultimate final phase in the life cycle of a marijuana plant by all of the LPs?
I think 2019 is going to be a great year for Micron. I think there's going to be, in addition to the validation that we're going to be having in the next month or so, it really looking at the broader picture from a broader perspective, where governments are tightening regulations on the discharge of pollutants, being able to measure the impact of cannabinoid residues being discharged into the environment. And so both of these are driving forces for Micron to become an increasingly important role in the cannabis industry, as well as in the broader food waste industry.
Wow, interesting. That's great. Do you see that there's a potential for legislated use of this or regulatory imposition of rules to use this if it's if it solves these problems and the alternative is to risk contamination of groundwater, et cetera, then I don't see how it can go unregulated or unmandated to be used in the process, especially since the cannabis industry is about to become so huge.
There is, and we have been in several conversations with governments, municipalities, trying to look at the problem, because the cannabis industry and how it came to be legalized was, in many cases, rushed. And so a lot of work, which is work well granted, looking on the prevention of the propagation of cannabis to people that who don't want to be affected, like children, youth, and others. And so now is an opportunity. Now that cannabis legalization is coming to Canada, it's now an opportunity for the government to step back and say, okay, what other issues are going to be affecting Canadians today and Canadians tomorrow? And water and the protection of water resources and our environment is a key element to Canada. Yeah, water scarcity and potable water, I guess, is increasingly in short supply as different industries compete for sources. Does the use of this machine in the sort of life cycle of the cannabis plant, does it add to the all-in cost per gram for an LP at the end of the day, or does it in fact subtract a bit because this is more efficient than landfilling? It subtracts it. It's more efficient than landfilling because you have to also include the cost of labor, as well as the potential cost of fines and discharge of pollutants, because every municipality has sewer discharge standards. And so companies that exceed those standards, whether that's your cannabis companies or other food processing, distribution, agriculture companies, if they have a certain excess over the standards, then they have to start paying fines. Right. And so from our perspective is to look at minimizing transport costs, minimizing labor costs, and as well to really bring down the cost of administration. The biggest impact, I think, from Micron and how we bring value to our customers is really looking from the branding perspective. Companies with key corporate social responsibility goals, like Aurora, have clear idea of how they want to, what sort of company that they want to become. Sure. And so for them to focus on looking at how do we protect Canadians in terms of the environment, and looking at how we can leverage the technology that we have today to be able to protect the future generations, making sure that our water resources are protected. Right. Okay, well, Alfred, that's a great update. We're going to leave it there for now and have you back again soon. Thank you very much for joining me today. Thank you.